This is Powcast Sports Podcast, hosted by Pow Salute. All right. And we are live. Good morning, Philippines. Good evening, Las Vegas. Good evening and good afternoon everywhere in the world. And what's up, boxing fans? Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat, Pilipinas. And today, it's an honor for me to be able to interview one of the Mayweather's great boxing family. And a quick favor for those watching right now, please do share this around your friends who love boxing. Uh, Obviously, we will be talking in details about boxing with Floyd Mayweather. And I want to see some likes and some shares and some comments, maybe some question later. Floyd Mayweather may answer those questions. So, without further ado, let's start this. Here comes the boom boom pow. Let me introduce our special guest today. He was fighting. He's a professional boxer. He was fighting in the super featherweight and the lightweight division. His record as a boxer: 32 wins, 10 losses, 5 draw. He is also the former IBO World Super Featherweight Champion. Now a trainer and a successful YouTuber. He has more than 400,000 subscribers on the Mayweather Boxing Channel from Grand Rapids, Michigan, by way of Las Vegas. Thumbs up for Jeff Jazzy Mayweather. Let me show him here. What's up? How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great myself. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you on my show.
The feeling's mutual.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Before we start, of course, I've read about you. I've researched a little bit, and I look at your YouTube channel, and I saw about 3 to 4 hours ago you went live, and you have a new thing that you're doing, a virtual training.
Yes, that's my latest gig that I'm trying to get off, trying to get started doing. With especially with this COVID and pandemic. There's a lot of people. Boxing has changed, and so basically now it puts me in a position where, of course, people always contact me and want to train with me, and now they can't make it out because they can't fly out to where I'm at, or they can't get access to me. So this way they'll be able to get access to me via Zoom.
Mhm. Via Zoom. Okay. So
Yeah.
I saw this one as well, and I think this is one of the way to get in touch with you. Just schedule on using this app, Calendly.
Yes.
It's 150 US dollars. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Ah, nice, nice. And anyone is welcome to join this, even if they're from the Philippines. They could join or enroll.
Anywhere in the world.
Wow, nice. So
So
this is go ahead.
no. Basically, of course, the more the better. But but for the most part, we want more people to join, and of course, I have a great team behind me, and so I'm looking forward to having some fun doing this.
But you're doing the actual training like one-on-one session, or is this more of a group video meetings? Like a lot of
Well,
people watching you.
don't get me wrong. Basically, there can be, of course, there can be one-on-one sessions, but that's different than
Hmm.
regular. But it's gonna be like more like group session, and
Uh-huh.
I'll have one of my fighters that actually he will kind of be like the puppet in a sense.
Okay.
He'll be the one that everything that I'm doing and that I'm teaching, um, they'll be getting taught through him because
Ah.
he's gonna be the one person that when I say, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to jab, I'm going to be teaching you guys defense, I'm going to be teaching you guys, whatever it is I'm going to be teaching that day. He's going to be the one person that's going to be actually, you know, um,
Hmm.
showing them how it should be done. And
Okay.
don't get me wrong, and he'll probably mess up sometime because he's not that experienced as well, so he's learning as he goes as well. And so
Ah, okay.
I think that works out better for everyone.
Okay.
And
Is this more catered to professionals or anyone, professional boxers or wannabe professionals? What's your target market?
I think right now is it's a market for just people more so that just want to work out. But don't really have the really don't have the access to work out, and I mean, and plus now it's so, I mean, it's so difficult just to get out and do anything because you never know what you're gonna come home with. But but even in saying that though, I think that the target will is, I mean, don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
you have guys that actually have reached out to me that wanted to train with me. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I'm sure that maybe some of them they may even show up, but I mean, it's really for anyone that likes boxing. But
Yeah.
I don't think that a top echelon boxer is going to actually you
Uh-huh.
know pay for a session for me learning from me when they can hire me as their coach.
Ah, okay. Okay. Well, so I can enroll because even if it's for fitness, I just want to learn boxing.
Right.
It can I can also enroll in that. How long is the 150 US dollar session?
Um, our we
Mm-hmm.
and we do I think that the other thing that people will probably like just as much is the and we're gonna have a Q and A, and
Ah, okay. That's
you pretty much ask me, pretty much anything. I mean, there's certain things that I don't know, and there's certain things that I probably won't answer, but you won't know unless you ask, right?
okay. But you've been a trainer for a long time. Mayweather, of course, it's a name that's associated with boxing. I want to ask you this. I hope it's free. You won't charge me for this one for now. What is the first thing that a boxer should learn? What is the very first thing?
um, I mean, I think the you have to build a good foundation, and that's basically your boxing stance.
Hmm.
And basically, once you get your boxing stance, is now you have balance, and balance is and distance are the two most
Mm,
important things in boxing.
right.
So
Okay.
I think that that would be most important.
Okay. Now Mayweather is known, especially Floyd, is known for his defensive wizardry, his skills. Will you teach that style as well?
Well, I mean, I'm a great defensive coach as well. I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't necessarily teach the same type of defense that Floyd, because there's a lot of
Mm.
people that there's a lot of people that want to fight that way but could never fight that way, because
Ah.
the one thing about it is that it's it's about timing more than anything. And if you're a person
Mm-hmm.
that don't have good timing, you can still have great defense without good timing, because you have your hands in place where they should be, as opposed to trying to fight like Floyd. And that's something that
Ah.
Floyd's been taught that since he was probably about 5 or 6 years old.
Okay. So you're saying that everyone wants to fight like Floyd, but not anyone can do it. It really depends.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Uh
There's
huh.
always athletes out there that can that
Mm.
can adjust to almost anything. So
Mm.
I'm not saying that it's not something that it's something that me myself I wouldn't advise. I wouldn't advise if you're a fighter that's just getting started, it's fine.
Uh
Because
huh.
now if you're just getting started and you're young enough and you have time enough to develop that style and master it, that's great. But if you come to me and you're already in your mid 20s or your late 20s, no, it's not good for you to start doing something like that. Let me teach you this defense the best way I know how, and that's where basically you keeping your hands where they need to be, keeping your arms, your elbows, and things like that, where everything needs to be. And basically, believe me, um, the way I teach defense, anybody can learn it.
Oh, nice, nice. What is that defense called? I forgot. The shoulder
Shoulder
roll.
roll.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, the shoulder roll. That's what we call it. But I guess it supposedly originated in Philly, and they call it the Philly shell.
Oh yeah, Phil. Yeah. Okay. Now, pretty much, when they talk about that defense, even here in the Philippines, it's associated now to Floyd Mayweather because he's one of the most popular guys that popularize it in modern day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that out of every person that ever tried it, he's been the most successful. So
Yeah. Wow.
so
Okay.
it speaks volumes.
As a trainer, is there anything you look at boxers? You've trained professional boxers. You've trained a lot of people. Is there anything specifically you check to see if you think that maybe this boxer would be good or not? What do you look at?
Well, I think the most important thing with any trainer is has to establish where this person's head is. I mean, if a person is doing it because they got their ass whooped at the bar or something,
Uh-huh.
maybe this ain't for you because
Okay.
boxing is something that you have to, it's something that you have to, want to do from your heart because people don't realize how dangerous boxing is until somebody drops dead in the ring. And so so my first thing is this is that I want to make sure that this is something that you want to do. And
Mm,
not that not only did you do you want to do it, that you're going to give me 100% of yourself to
okay.
do it because I never want someone to be hurt, when I'm in their corner or, or anything happen to someone that I train. I mean, of course we can't control that, but um if you have someone that listens and really wants it, that means that they're gonna be giving you 100% of themselves, and most of the time, if they do what they're supposed to do, they're gonna be all right.
Okay. So it's basically the commitment and the passion for boxing. That's the first
Right.
thing. Okay.
Well,
Uh,
passion. You said the one word that I use with everyone is
what was it? Passion.
passion because passion can push you through anything, not just boxing. With anything you do in life, if you find the passion in it, you're going to succeed.
Okay. All right. And I agree with you with that. If you're very passionate on things, then you'll certainly succeed with it because it's what you want to do. Now,
Exactly.
for boxing, I know you mentioned you have to start at a young age. Is there any limit you feel if you want to be a professional boxer? Uh, what is the earliest time and what is the limit of the age for you to start boxing?
Well, I think with anything that you do, the younger you start, the more it becomes a part of you. Even if you start boxing at, let's say you start boxing at 7 years old,
Mhm.
and then you walk away from it, and you walk away from it when you're 10. You've already invested, you've already invested 3 years into that sport, and eventually at some point you're probably going to come back to that because it's going to be the one thing that you know better than anything else that you're doing,
Mhm.
but I think that the best, I say that the younger the better. I mean, I would say especially now a lot of people are starting younger than they used to. um they know Floyd's history because I mean Floyd basically he didn't really choose when to start or anything. His dad chose for him.
Mhm.
So he had no choice to make. Basically, pretty much when he was born, his dad's like this, hit my hand or whatever. But and I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, and it's one of those stories that um came has a great ending.
Mhm.
I mean, from the day he was born, his dad made him be a fighter, and here it is. He's one of the greatest fighters to ever live.
Yeah,
So,
and mhm.
no, but what I'm saying is that I just think that the younger you are, the more you will be able to retain, and you're gonna get better. You're gonna get better and better and better. Just that's just like even if you start a guy out playing football at 6 years old,
Mm,
you know, at maybe playing quarterback or something, by the time he's in high school, every college in the world gonna want him. You know,
nice. Yeah.
that's just a part of it. But I mean, there's exceptions to every rule. I
Hmm.
mean, you have guys that come into boxing and they just have that mentality that just they can grasp almost anything you teach them, and basically those are the guys that can actually still become world champion even in their 20s or even in their 30s.
Mm, okay. Right. Good to hear for that from you because I get always a lot of questions. I want to start boxing, especially here in the Philippines. So you also have trained at some point Floyd Mayweather. Is that an accurate statement?
No, that's not accurate. I
Oh,
actually
okay.
I was the one who actually originally got him signed with Top Rank,
Mm-hmm.
and at that time I was basically managing him until his
Mm.
father came home.
Ah, okay. So you were a manager, not a trainer of Floyd.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right. So well, let me ask you this one then. Um, again, being a trainer, who have you trained? That we know, or who are you training right now that maybe we should watch out for in the
Okay.
boxing world?
Okay. Let's speak of the fighters that I passed, the past fighters that I trained.
Okay. Yes.
Um,
First.
let's do that first. I'm gonna start with female boxing. I
Oh,
had
okay.
Jessica Rakoczy. I don't know if you guys know her or anything, but she's a six-time world champion, and um, and so she was one of the first females that I've ever had that won a title. Um, I've trained. Um, I would say the best fighter that I've ever trained is um, Celestino Caballero, who's
Oh,
a
yeah.
yeah five. He's a five-time world champion. Um, then I had Shannon Briggs, who's also the two-time world champion. Had Sultan Ibragimov, who actually beat Shannon to take the
Mm,
title from Shannon after I was
mhm.
done training Shannon. Sultan Ibragimov. I've trained even a kid that most people probably don't even know, uh, Kelvin Concrete Davis. He was a
Uh-huh.
cruiserweight champion of the world. Also, Demarcus Chop Chop Corley, um, Stephen Forbes. Um,
Okay.
let me see who else.
How
Um,
about this guy? Did you train this guy? I just saw
yes,
this on your Facebook.
of course, that guy right there, Dewey Cooper. Dewey
Yeah.
Cooper, one of the. I mean, he's one of the most stand-up guys I ever met in my life.
Mm,
I mean, he's one of those guys. He's honorable, and he's one of those who I mean, when and actually when he fought, I think I trained him for maybe about 8 to 10 years,
wow, that's a
and
long time. Huh?
yeah,
I thought
yeah,
he was a kickboxer. So
yeah,
you're one of the. Mhm.
he's a kickboxing champion.
Yeah.
But in boxing, um, he did well. He still did well. I think he retired with a record of like 18-2,
Mhm.
and guess what? He never lost a fight when he was with me.
Wow,
So
that speaks a lot. Yeah.
yeah, those two times when I wasn't there, he came up short.
Okay. All right. Dewey Cooper went here, promoted a boxing event. He is now a promoter. He's been teaching, training MMA fighters and boxers as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So.
I mean, he's the whole gamut of combat sports. He's been involved. He's
Mm,
been in he's been in kickboxing. He's been in what is the other stuff called? It's something called something else. I forgot.
Muay
but
Thai? No.
yeah, he's done Muay Thai, and he's done everything that's combat. He's done it.
Okay.
He's that guy, and I mean, his work ethic is phenomenal. If
Okay.
he's a guy that can take anyone and get them in completely tip top shape.
Okay. I want to ask you this one. I'm curious. Have you ever trained any Filipino boxers?
Um, yes, but for a short time.
Do you remember the names? Who are they?
Um, there's a young kid now that eventually I'll probably be training because me and him we have a great connection, and the time that he we spent together in the Mayweather gym, I
Mm-hmm.
mean it wasn't wasted because he sends me a lot of videos of himself and a lot of the things that I was working with him on at the time. I mean he applies it when he's in the ring and he's doing great. His name is he. I never called him by his whole name, so he goes by
Uh-huh.
Ming.
Okay. I'll watch out for him. Let's
Yeah,
see. So there's a question here, and I would like to ask this right away. Would you work with Philippine boxers,
of
professional
course.
Philippine boxers?
I work with Manny Pacquiao.
These days that's gonna be hard because a lot of people like work would like to work with him. But okay, so there are Filipino boxers in Vegas. They always wanted to fight in Vegas. Just in case there are Filipino boxers who's looking for trainer. How do they reach out to you? Are you at the Floyd Mayweather gym? Which gym do they go to in Vegas?
Well, I mean, currently with of course, with the COVID going on right now, I'm actually in
Mm-hmm,
City Boxing Club right now.
mm-hmm,
And of course, we're waiting to see when Floyd's gym is going to be open. I mean, it's been open, but it's open for certain people and things like that. So, I mean, right now, I'm not really, I don't like to be in a gym where I feel that I have to be in and out. I want to go to a gym where as many people as I want to train, I'll be there for that time, and then when I'm done, I'm done. So
uh,
actually, so that's why right now I'm at City Boxing Club, and very nice facility. I mean, all the people there are nice, and um, yeah, I mean, if you have anyone that wants to train with me, I mean, first they can reach out to me on
okay.
social media, Facebook or Instagram,
Hmm.
um, or WhatsApp, and if not, they can come try to see if they can catch me at the gym, and then we can talk there as well.
There you go. A lot of Filipino managers and promoters are watching this show, so maybe they'll be interested. So, okay. I also saw something. I'm a little bit hesitant to ask this because I'm gonna mention the name. But it is on one of your video. It is one of your video. You're talking about Deontay Wilder. What would you work with him if you're the trainer of the Deontay Wilder?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Deontay Wilder is actually, to me, one of the most exciting fighters on the planet.
Mm, mm-hmm,
And I think that, of course, I think that I can add to him. I can make him a better fighter. Not necessarily so much. I mean, because one thing is this, and I'm not judging, and I'm not even judging who's training him, because I think that a lot of fighters, once they have that kind of power and they have knowledge that they have that kind of power, they forget about the basics. They forget about the normal things that they should be doing if they didn't have that power. And he's gotten to a point where he's probably forgot the fundamentals of boxing. He forgot using his jab. He forgot hooking off the jab. He forgot, all the other things that comes along with it.
mm-hmm.
Just because all it takes is one punch for him to end the fight.
Ah, so you
And
want
so
to take him back to grade school, basic.
Yeah, I think that that's very very important because I mean the last time he got beat, it wasn't it wasn't really it really didn't have anything to do with um I mean, of course there's all these conspiracy theories about what happened, but um I mean, I think what happened to me was that he um Tyson Fury came up with a great strategy.
Hmm.
I mean, and he applied it. And basically what his strategy was is that he put that 278 pounds on top of Wilder's head every chance he could.
Yeah,
And Wilder was busy pushing up, trying everything he could to get out of that position and drained him.
yeah, that's very very good strategy then. Uh, I want to ask you this because since we're talking about this, and I'm gonna ask about your professional boxing career. Since we're talking about Wilder, Tyson Fury Wilder, it probably would happen. Who's gonna win the third fight?
Well, me myself, I think that if Wilder doesn't take a tune-up fight, he's not gonna win. I
Oh,
think that I think that when you get beat that bad, you have to do something to get your bravado back. You gotta, I mean, you have to, I mean, because he had that S on his chest in the
yeah.
beginning. The S has been removed now. And so basically, I think that you go back to basics, just what I was talking about earlier. You got to go back to the basics and, and actually work on them, not just go back and say, okay, well, I'm just going to do this because this is what I should be doing. No,
Hmm.
do it because it's necessary. And I think that if he gets back to that, and because right now, the only thing that Fury has to look for is big right hand. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and I mean, and if you got any defensive skills, you're gonna see that come. You're gonna see that punch coming. You know,
okay.
I mean, of course, if you don't see it coming, it could be good night. But I mean, I don't think Wild. I mean, and Fury's a great defensive fighter for a guy his size.
Mm,
And so and plus, I mean, not only that, he takes a great shot. And
yes,
so I mean, one punch obviously ain't gonna knock him out. It even
yeah.
though he dropped him twice in the first fight, he
Yeah,
still finished the fight.
I was
On
surprised that he got up. He looks like he got really hurt bad the way he was positioned on the canvas.
yeah, yeah, but he can walk, and that goes to show you that I mean he can take it.
Do you think Deontay Wilder at this stage of his career can still change his style, can still learn the basics?
No, no, I don't think going back to the basics is actually changing his style.
Mm,
I
okay.
think that when going back to the basics is really just using the fundamentals that you already have, but for some reason you stop. And the reason why you probably stopped is because every time you hit someone, they go to sleep. And so basically he needs to, get in the ring, work on his boxing fundamentals, using a long jab, using his reach, using his height, everything, and I mean, and all those things that he hasn't been using will make a difference in the fight.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much for that. Let's talk about your boxing career. You're very well known as a YouTuber and a trainer, but you did boxing. You were an IBO champion. What started you up in boxing?
Um, well, it's weird. It's a weird story
Okay.
because realistically, no, realistically, I never wanted to fight, never ever.
Oh,
But
why?
I just didn't care. I never cared about boxing. I'm gonna tell you what
Okay.
pushed me into boxing was
Okay.
my brother Roger, because me and him growing up was inseparable. Wherever he went, I went. I was like his shadow, and so he basically said that if you're gonna be coming to this gym every day, at least learn how to fight. because it made no difference. I mean, because he had chose to box, and
Uh-huh.
so being that he chose to box, and all I wanted to do was hang out with him, so I would just follow him to the gym. And
Okay.
so and we would do, of course, and he was a little older than me, so he would have me doing a lot of stupid stuff too, but
You were
but
forced into boxing.
yeah, yeah. And so basically though, that was my reason for boxing because actually I went to college first. And once I graduated from college, of course, I'm looking for a job,
Ah.
in my field. But he calls me and says, "Hey, come out here to Vegas." And so what I did, I just packed up everything and came out to Vegas. And he put me up in a house,
Uh-huh.
gave me a car, and then two within 2 weeks, I had a manager. So
Oh, nice.
basically, that's how I actually got into boxing. And of course, I never really, like I said, I never really cared for boxing. But the one thing that I knew is that in order for me not to be hurt or get killed in boxing, was to work as hard as I possibly could. And so, no matter what, I still worked as hard as I could. And I mean, I think I did well for a guy that never cared for boxing to still have a title belt at my house.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, if you are not a boxer, what would you have been? You've graduated at Western Michigan.
I
Uh,
was,
what
I
do you
was a
think your
graphic
career
artist.
would be?
Um,
Right?
I think that I would. I don't necessarily know, but I mean, I'm a very good artist, so I think I would
Oh,
be doing something artistic, probably, um, or doing some type of, probably doing, uh, something like you're doing.
ah, still
I
boxing, but
mean,
not fighting.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, and also, I mean, just being a part of media as well.
Yeah, but let me show just this one. Because when did you start, and when did you start the idea of having the Mayweather channel? It has 400,000, almost half a million followers.
Um, well, we actually started a long time ago,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
it really didn't really blossom until because it was just myself and my camera guy
Uh-huh.
that and don't get me wrong, he's great at content and things like that. But our channel, we had our channel for a while, and we wasn't really making any money, and
Oh,
so it was kind of like it's okay to the channel is doing good and and people are watching it, but at the same time you can't really enhance your channel if you're not making money to do the changes that are needed. And so basically, I reached out to um, I don't know if you may know him or may know of him, Amir Abdallah. He was a kickboxing world champion, and basically I reached out to him because I used to train him, and I seen how brilliant he was, with when he did business. And so I just told him, I said, um, I have a name. I said, you have the brain to make it, you know, make some money. Let's do it. Let's get together. And ever since then, he came on board and the things that we needed, like for certain kind of cameras, everything that we needed, he provided for us. And of course, the channel started to blossom and start doing really well.
right, great stuff. I mean, before I see a lot of content. Maybe because of the pandemic, it's not a lot of content. You've done a lot of great interviews. Actually, one of the channels that I follow, I get updates from you
Thank
too.
you.
So Roger trained you on your boxing career, by the way, until the very end, or did you had different type trainers as well?
No, actually, I was one of those people that I didn't want to actually train with my brothers, and not because
Oh, okay.
it was just the reason why I didn't want to train with my brothers because I didn't want to try to blame either one of them for my failure, and so basically, um, Roger did train me for one fight, and Floyd Senior trained me for one fight. That's it. And I couldn't, and I didn't really want them to train me, at all.
Okay. One of the things that I saw on your box, Rick, of course, you won different type of belts. You fought Oscar De La Hoya in his earlier days. What
Yeah.
was it like? And did you expect when you fought him the first time that he will be as big as he is?
Um. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even when I fought him, it's funny. This is a story in boxing that people don't know. A
Okay.
lot of times, when a person actually is going to fight you, sometimes they will test you out. And actually, I sparred with Oscar probably about 2 or 3 months before the fight was made. I mean, I did great with him in sparring and everything, but the one thing that he knew was that I didn't have power. I didn't have enough
Right.
power to bless you. I didn't have enough
Sorry.
power to actually hurt him. And with that, he knew that if you don't knock him out, you're not gonna win. So basically, I took the risk because I mean, I know the importance of trying to beat a Oscar De La Hoya, but it just wasn't meant to be. And of course, there's no shame in it because look how how well he done. I
Yeah.
mean, so I mean, it's just one of those fights that's on your resume that you can look back and you can say, well, I fought one of the
I
good
fought
guys,
this guy.
one of the great
Yeah.
guys, things like that. But I mean, but it's just a part of my career, because a lot of times, I mean, there's a lot of guys in my career that I fought. I don't even know who the fuck they are.
I want to ask you this. Oscar De La Hoya is planning a comeback. Should
Yeah,
he?
he's talking about it. Yeah, he's talking about it. It's funny because I went over my brother's house today, and he didn't know anything about it. He didn't even
Uh,
know that Oscar was talking about getting back to train with him and stuff like that. And so I told him, I said, Oscar's making a comeback, right? He said, what? I said, yeah. I said he's making a comeback. And he said,
uh,
are you serious? I said, yeah, I'm serious. And I said the only person he wants to train him is you. And he
uh,
was like, really? I said, yeah. So it was kind of like it was funny because he's been in the house so much since this pandemic that it's almost like he's and he's the type that used to be always gone, but with this pandemic, he's been in the house, all the time, and so he don't. And plus, he's not one of those people. He don't read papers. He don't get on a computer. He don't do none of that. So he don't know what's going on in the world unless somebody tells him.
you think it's gonna happen though? You think he's actually gonna return?
Well, I think it's like this. Right now, I think it's just talk. But if it's serious, I think that he will be starting a camp within 1 or 2 months. If he's not starting a training camp in 1 or 2 months, I don't think it's going to happen. Because don't get me wrong, it's
Uh-huh.
easy for an idea to pop inside your head
Hmm.
when you go to bed at night, and especially when you're a guy that don't need the money. So
Hmm.
what are you really doing it for?
Yeah.
There's really no reason to do it. But I mean, obviously he has a reason. He has his own personal reason. But I'm saying that, but I mean, you're gonna make you're gonna make some money, but you already have money. You're going to. I mean, only thing at this point I think you can do is really taint your legacy. You
Mm,
know, I mean, because even if you beat someone, if that person that you beat has no status or merit,
it's nothing.
it all it means you just want to you beat another fighter, and anybody can.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, of course, Oscar can go out and still beat a whole lot of fighters, and Mike can even beat some of the top guys, maybe. But
Uh-huh.
it that's the risk that if that's the risk that he's willing to take, so be it. I mean,
Mm.
I applaud him. I applaud him for it.
Why do you think it's the case these days? It's been a trend. Mike Tyson, Holyfield, even MMA fighters. Is this just for just for show? Like they
Well,
all want to come back now.
well, I don't think it's for show, but I do think it's for a money grab. I mean,
Ah,
if you can make because I mean, don't get me wrong, no one's seen that crazy kind of money that Floyd was making.
I
But
agree. Yeah,
but since it happened, everybody that are still fighting and that became champions are still making way more money than they would have if Floyd never raised the market. And so I
nice.
think that, now Tyson will make more money today than he did when he was actually fighting. I'm talking about for one fight, especially at the age that he's at. I mean, you're talking about he can possibly walk away with 100 million.
Wow, that makes a that's a funny thing today. As you said, maybe he's getting a lot more money with those videos, just the video itself, and not the fight,
Right. Well, and
with
don't get
those
me wrong. I mean,
endorsements.
and also that's another thing with Tyson. Tyson doesn't need the money either now. I mean, there
Yeah.
was a time when he needed the money, but he has a growth house now. So he has a marijuana house. So he's making plenty of money now.
Okay.
And
All
I
right.
think
Well, mhm.
no, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say all the other people that are coming along, basically that want to be a part of it is that are the guys that do want to make that money.
Okay. All right. This guys or this veteran boxers, they wanted to return, but your last two fight, it was a win. Why did you stop boxing?
Well, that's the best way to go out.
Ah,
I don't want to go out just because I lost. I mean,
okay.
and plus, like I said, I mean, pretty much, I chose boxing. Boxing didn't choose me, and that's why I was able to walk away from boxing when I wanted to. I mean, I retired from boxing, and I still had a whole lot of fight left in me. I was only 32 years old when I retired.
Yeah, it was a young age.
Yeah, and basically, I said to myself that if I don't achieve what I want to achieve in 10 years, I'm done, and that's what I did. So I just walked away, and fortunately, as soon as I walked away, Floyd Jr. became a pro, and so basically, I took over his career.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Perfect. On your fights, you have about 47 bouts. Have you ever fought a Filipino? Or have you ever came close to fighting a Filipino in the past?
Um, I don't know if I fought a Filipino or not. I
Uh,
fought, I think I fought a Chinese, but I don't know.
ah,
I don't know. I mean,
okay.
so I
I,
mean,
I I was asking that good conversation to have because we have a lot of Filipino viewers. But I did check on your boxer. The closest that you had with a Filipino inside the ring was a referee named Carlos Padilla. It's one of our famed referee here. So that's the closest. I don't know if you
oh
know him
my
personally. It
god.
was against Jesus Rodriguez, 1991.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
It's
I know Carlos Padilla. I know him pretty well.
Oh, right, yeah. So he's a Hall of Famer here.
Oh, great.
One of the very few. boxing icon or character. Before Manny Pacquiao, we have a referee that is well known. He
Right.
actually refereed the Thrilla in Manila too.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Nah. Did you know any Filipino boxers before Manny Pacquiao even get famous?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think Manny kind of opened the door for everyone and everyone that came behind him. It's kind of like it's kind of like when um like coming from the Philippines, nobody no there's almost like there's no expectations, but yet you have someone that comes that that not only exceed all expectations, but is actually one of the best fighters to ever put on a pair of gloves,
Mm,
and has actually and has changed the game of boxing. And so and not only in changing the game for boxing, he certainly changed the game for Filipinos in boxing. And
definitely.
and so basically, I mean, a lot of people have many to thank for opening those doors.
Mhm. Okay, so well, thank you very much for that very kind words from Manny Pacquiao. Uh, in your own words, though, if you think about Manny Pacquiao, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you as a non-Filipino?
Well, um, I mean, exciting. I think he's an extremely exciting fighter. Um, I think that you know, um, I mean, he's like 60 thrills a minute. You watch him. I mean, his hand speed, his power. And I mean, he's a small guy, but when he hits you, it doesn't seem like it. Obviously.
Manny, world champion in 4 decades, eight division champion, the only eight division. You've heard of the news of Pacquiao Golovkin. Is this a crazy idea? Do you think at this stage he should go for it?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think that there's nothing wrong with him going for it because what he's trying to achieve, you know, either it's going to happen or it's not. Whether it's Triple G, whether it's somebody else. I mean, the thing is this: is that I mean, right now, Manny has no competition in terms
Mhm.
of his achievements. So basically, what he's doing is he's raising that bar even higher than it could be. So I mean, okay, he's an 8-time world champion. I'm gonna be a 9-time world champion instead. And I mean, how many guys are gonna come from that many different weight classes just to try to beat his record?
Yeah.
What if he achieves it, or even if he just tries to do it, it's etched in stone forever.
Okay. But you, what do you think he should do? Who do you think he should fight? There's a lot of
Um,
options in the welterweight. First, there's Gennady. What do you think is the most sensible path to go?
well, I mean, I think that the most sensible path is for him, of course, to fight at a weight class that he's already fought at and that he's comfortable at and that he's been multiple champion at. But I think that he's thinking beyond that and he's thinking out the box. He's thinking about his own legacy as opposed to because it makes no difference if he beat Earl Spence. It makes no difference if he beats Terrence Crawford. It makes no
Mhm.
difference. Those are guys that he's already beat at that weight class. I mean, it'll be phenomenal because of his age, but it doesn't do anything for his legacy or adding to his legacy. He's been welterweight champion many times, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So it makes sense for him to try to do the unthinkable.
Okay. So you think it is better for him to fight, from what you're saying, a Golovkin, because it's legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I mean that's my thinking. That's the only reason I would think that he would even take that kind of risk because that's a lot of weight to give up.
Oh,
You know, I
yeah.
mean, it's a big guy and it's a big guy that can punch.
Here's
But
one thing. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
no, well, the one thing about yeah, there's the one thing that I might have just stole out your mouth. I don't know, but what I'm going to say is that it's a situation that no matter what, he's not going to lose.
Okay. You
There's
think you don't think it makes
no
sense
loss
for
there,
Pacquiao to?
huh?
Sorry. How about a fight with Crawford or Spence? Do you think that that will be a better option?
Well, I mean, it it doesn't mean anything as far as adding to his legacy. I mean,
Oh,
I think I'm talking about he's trying to do something that is no one else will ever achieve probably in life. You know,
okay.
I mean, do you know? I mean, how it is to have a record that probably never, ever, ever be broken. And so I think that might be the case because there's really no reason for him to prove anything by going up to a weight class like that. And
Mhm.
he already proved that he can still compete with these guys at 147. You know, and so I mean, I don't know if I don't even because I don't even think it's about money. I think it's I think it's just more about his legacy,
Yeah,
and
coming
his personal.
coming from a Mayweather, I'm so happy to hear that. Mayweather Pacquiao, it's verse. There's the two is associated to each other, and a
Of
lot of
course.
debate going on between the two. I want to ask you this: um, uh, how about a rematch with Floyd Jr. as a next fight, or maybe a last fight? What do you think about that?
I mean, I just think that I don't think I don't think Floyd's gonna worry about you know taking that fight because the fight that had that the meaning that fight had was so many years ago. It doesn't mean anything now. It means nothing at all. I mean, even if Manny wins, it still doesn't mean anything. And the one thing is this is that that's the one thing about boxing when people always think that just because you, the one thing is this with Floyd and Manny, both of their statuses, was I mean immaculate. They were the face of boxing, both of them. And so basically, that that fight that took place determined who was the top guy in boxing, not in the weight class, in boxing. Period. And and Floyd beat him. And being that Floyd beat him, that's what he did. He became the biggest guy in boxing history. And
Okay,
so, and the one thing is that in boxing, no one ever has to give another guy a rematch because you were in front of me on that night. I don't have to give you a second chance to be in front of me again because I beat you when it counted.
makes a lot of sense. But just in case it happened, do you think people will still be interested? The general public, you think it's still gonna create some buzz? Maybe
Um,
just for money grab.
I think it can generate money, but um, I also think that it's a situation where um, put it this way, it means something to Manny's fans.
Yeah.
To Floyd
Mhm.
fans, it don't matter. They don't care because I mean, in all honesty, I thought, Floyd won that fight pretty easy. I mean, Manny did, had his a few moments, but the fight wasn't even really close. Being that the fight wasn't really close, and the fight didn't even live up to the expectations. So why do it again?
Yeah, especially
I
at this
mean,
age, it doesn't real like what you
yeah,
said. It would not
I
mean
mean,
anything whoever wins because they're
yeah,
past their prime.
you got two old men that basically that basically are still, unfortunately, are still the face of boxing. That's what it is.
Okay. Yeah, this is one thing that both of them has basically done to boxing. They're gonna be remembered forever. They're gonna be associated with each other, but they have their own legacy. And
Right.
unfortunately, a lot of us, some people would thought that it could have happened sooner. It could have happened in earlier days, but it did happen. When it happened, Floyd Mayweather stepped up and he won. And regardless of the talks, it's on record. Floyd won that
That's it.
fight.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, because if you're a Manny fan, you'll find 101 excuses why he
Yeah.
lost.
Okay.
And the one excuse that everyone uses makes no sense at all.
Was
When
that the injury?
no, not the
Was that?
injury. I don't believe there was an injury, but that's just
Okay.
me personally. I mean, because I don't know anyone that could throw that many hard punches for 12 rounds with a torn rotator cuff, and that's just me.
Okay.
Personally, I had a torn rotator cuff and I couldn't use my damn arm at all. And so, I mean, but not. I'm not really speaking about that. I'm speaking about more of the fact that you know when you have your chance, I mean, that's the only moment that counts. I mean, because that fight would never be as big as it was. It would never be as many people clamoring to, spend their hard earned money. Fucking, some people probably was, save 3 or 4 checks just to get a
Yeah.
ticket. I mean, and so I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I think that the fight itself, you know, and with all the build up, and like I said, the one excuse that Manny fans use, or anybody that is a fan of Manny's, say, "Oh, the fight happened too late."
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
if the fight happened too late, ain't Floyd older than Manny? If he's older than Manny, it don't make no fucking difference when the fight happened. Floyd's still gonna be older than him. So I mean, that's an asinine excuse. I mean, because the one thing is this, is that basically the fight just didn't live up to the expectations, and that's the disappointing part. You know, I mean, of course, you have those big fights that everybody wants to see, and when the fight happens, sometimes it goes over great, like Leonard and Hearns, it went over great. But then you have this fight of Manny and Floyd that was even bigger than Leonard and Hearns, didn't live up to the expectations. And I mean, and being that it didn't live up to the expectations, it's almost like it's a part of history, but it's not a major part of history.
Okay. This wisdom, this information I'm getting from you, it of course is making me think. Although, why do you think, in your perspective, although it's still considered the biggest fight, it generated more revenue than a lot of fights in recent years, probably the biggest in pay per view as well. Why do you think it didn't live up to expectation, as what you said? I mean,
Well,
uh,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that Manny didn't realize how good a boxer Floyd was, and he thought that he was gonna go out there and just basically run over Floyd like he ran over everybody else. But he could barely even touch Floyd. And so made for an ugly fight because it's not that Floyd made the fight ugly because Floyd fought his fight. He fought his fight. I mean, Floyd's he's a defensive fighter, and he's a safety first fighter. He's not a guy that's going out there to try to take your head off. He's trying to outsmart you. And that's what he did. So Floyd lived up to his expectations. Manny didn't. Manny did not deliver.
Okay. All right. I'm glad that you're saying that here. Obviously, and I'm happy. I don't see anyone really reacting to your comments because I have a lot of a Pacquiao fan. I'm a Pacquiao fan, and I accept and I understand what you're saying. It's what happened. It's the fact, and you know we had our
Oh yeah,
chance.
because it's like this. How many times in life do you think a person can win the lotto?
Very slim. I've actually had bet a lot and Loda. I haven't won anything, so
No, what I'm
I
saying
don't know.
is
I don't know.
no, but what I'm saying is this.
Yeah, go ahead.
In life, like for instance, to win the lotto, you probably have a 1 in a billion chance to win that
Okay.
lotto. I'm talking about a major lotto that's going to change your life and everybody around you. You have that. You may have a 1 in a billion chance. And when you have that 1 in a billion chance in front of you and you don't deliver, whose fault is it? And then when people say, "Oh, well, do it again," do it again for what?
Okay.
It was there already. That
All right.
moment, that moment was there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
and so, I mean, it's something that and I mean, people just don't think of things in that way. They just think that, oh, okay, well, the right guy didn't win, so let's make the fight again.
Okay.
No,
There's not always a second chance.
no. I mean, there's in life, there's never a second chance is never, guaranteed. And I mean, and
Wisdom
so
from Jeff here. Thank you.
say it
Good
again.
wisdom from you. Good wisdom from you. I want to ask you this because this conversation about Pacquiao, Lloyd, this is gonna probably gonna run for years and years, and this won't
Yeah, it's gonna
stop.
go
But
forever. It's gonna go forever. Believe me.
it, it's a good thing and a bad thing because their name is gonna continue to float around boxing fans. But what I'm curious, Jeff, is maybe you can answer this question. I've seen the recent post of Floyd Mayweather on Instagram. He's flying to Japan. Is he gonna fight again in Japan?
I don't. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of things that Floyd does, I have no idea. I mean, um, to be honest, I don't even hardly even see Floyd anymore. I mean, he may
Uh-huh.
poke his head in the gym, um, and I mean, I don't work for him, so I don't really see him. So it's kind of like when I see him, hey, how you doing? And that's basically it. And I mean,
Uh-huh.
but the one thing about Floyd is that Floyd is basically he knows how to stir up controversy. He knows how to get people on the edge of their seats by
He knows
saying
how to promote.
exactly. He knows
Yeah.
he knows he knows how to get people on the edge of their seats and be like, huh? What are you gonna do? And that's basically probably what he's doing now. He's probably, you know, looking into something and basically, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if he does another one of those where he's gonna fight some guy that never fought before, I mean, he's gonna win. But
Yeah.
people gonna still buy it,
Okay.
you know. And so I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, exactly.
so he's a master at that. And I mean, because the thing is this is that when you have a great fighter in, especially in the sport of boxing, you almost never want him to leave and
Yeah.
then and some people don't want him to leave, and some people don't want him to leave until he get his ass whooped.
That is correct. That is a very accurate statement. So
Yeah,
I guess on the Floyd Mayweather scenario, we don't have any idea if he's fighting another exhibition bout or if he's coming out of retirement. We just have to wait.
yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong, and that's what he does. I mean, he gets people excited about something that may happen or it may not. But I
This
mean, of course, I mean, if it happens and somebody pays him $100 million to fight some dude that ain't that's fucking 2 foot tall, who cares? you
this
know?
is one this is one thing I would like to share to my followers. And Floyd, as much as some people don't like his style, like they always say it's some of the guys would say it's boring, but still they end up buying the pay-per-view, they still end up watching the fight, they still end up buzzing and talking about it.
Exactly.
The style of Floyd inside the ring complements as well his skills, that maybe is also worth a mention. His skills of promoting, his talking style, and the way he conduct himself. It's a big part of what he is right now, and that's why he's called money, and that's why he's very popular. Even though, like what other people said, his style is not fan friendly, but still he has a lot of fans and followers following
Well,
him.
but no. What it is now is that it's still, even though people will say his fighting style is not fan friendly, what it is this: whether you think that that style is fan friendly or not, that fucking style is successful. And long as that style is successful, that's the only thing that matters. Because you're spending your money to see him get his ass whooped, but he never delivers that for you. You bet on him 50 times, you lost 50 times.
Wow,
So
yeah.
that's how that works. That's how that works.
Exactly.
So whether you like his style or not, continue to bet against it and see how much money you end up losing because you're not going to win no money.
Okay. And that's one of the legacy that Floyd have left. The winning legacy, and a lot of boxers right now follow him inside and outside. His style. I've seen that. We're past an hour, and do you still have some time? I'm on the last part of my questions. Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah. I
It,
mean,
it,
do you have anybody that maybe asking questions or anything too? I'm not
yeah,
sure.
we'll get to the question. So I wanted to ask the people, if you have questions, just leave it for in a while. I just have a few other questions that I want to go through, and of course, I want to also show this again. If you want to hire Jeff Mayweather as a trainer, you can go to his Instagram, Facebook, social media accounts, and you can schedule a session with Jeff Mayweather and learn more about the boxing technique of the Mayweathers. 150 US dollars, but if you want more information, you can just go to Floyd Mayweather, Jeff Mayweather's social media accounts. Floyd is a promoter. Are you in any way? Do you have an idea of when he's gonna promote a fight in Vegas?
Um, well, actually, I think their first show that they're going to be doing is actually going to be in California somewhere. Um,
California.
and I don't know exactly where, but
Okay.
Floyd will be doing his shows there, I guess, and also it'll be Al Heyman being one of his first shows as well.
Okay. Are you promoting too? Because I've seen your face on the MCB promotion boxing page. Are you a promoter now as well?
No, no, no. I mean, that was something that we were working on, and but it in the end it didn't work.
Okay.
So we kind of like pushed to the side now, especially with this coming with pandemic. So I mean, now it's kind of something that how you writing a book and all of a sudden you get tired and so you go put the book up in the cabinet, but
Uh,
then you never and then you you never you never go back and start writing again.
it's in the back burner for now, but it's
Right.
still there. It's in the
Yes,
back burner. It's
exactly.
yeah, it could
Exactly.
still happen.
Yes.
So you don't know yet. So the current pandemic situation in Vegas and in the world has put a halt in a lot of things, especially in boxing. Top Rank is the only one so far that's doing their event in Vegas.
Mm.
And Golden Boy is about to follow July 24, I believe. I want to ask you honestly, what do you think about the Top Rank show so far?
Um, I mean, it's almost like if you like boxing, you like the shows because they're available. But some of them shows have been very weak. I mean, when you put in opposition that nobody ever heard of and nobody knows, and they don't deliver nothing special, it's almost like, okay, well, these guys are lucky just to be on TV. And I
Okay,
mean, but don't get me wrong. I mean, but some of the shows have been good and some of the fights have been really great. But overall, I mean, like I was just watching one of the last shows, and it was these two heavyweights, and they looked horrible. So I mean, but of course, every fight is not going to be good, and every fight is not going to be entertaining. So you got to take the good with the bad.
okay. So what's the biggest boxing event or matchup that you're looking forward to watching?
Um, well, I mean, of course, I think one of the biggest and best matches in boxing right now today would be, you know, Crawford and Spence, but I won't say that anymore until we see what Earl Spence still has, if he still has anything left. Because I mean, he was in a very, very, bad accident, and no one knows how he's going to recover, mentally or whatever. When that bell rings, I mean, who's to say? Maybe he might get punched right in the face wherever he got hurt or anything. Anything can
Hmm.
happen, and
Yeah.
so I mean, so right now the verdict is still out there on him, and no one knows. And so right now, of course, that's a fight that at one point, of course, I thought that would be a great fight, but right now, I mean, it's a fight that would be. I mean, I think Terrence Crawford would win that fight and probably win that fight fairly easy.
Oh, okay. This is because of the big question mark of
It's
who
because of the
or what
question
is
mark.
the
But
state of Spence after that accident.
yes, I think that until we get a chance to see what Earl still has, if he hasn't lost anything, of course, I mean that's a great fight to happen, and I think
Okay.
that it'll be a great fight on both sides. I mean, I like both guys to death, and I wouldn't even bet on the fight because I would just want to just watch the fight and see who prevails because
Okay.
that's how good the fight will be. I think.
Okay. All right. All right. It's now time for the Q&A. Maybe a quick Q&A for the fans, but I just want to brag this photo. I haven't shown this. This is you and me in Malaysia during the Pacquiao Matisse fight.
Yeah.
A good time.
Yes. I
Yeah.
like it.
It- what did you do? Did you do anything in Malaysia after or before the fight? Did you had a chance to tour around?
No, actually, did a little bit in Malaysia, but not a whole lot. I was actually when I was down there, I was actually down there with my girlfriend, so
Mm.
she was all over the damn place, and so
You're
I
working
just
and he's
been,
touring.
yeah, she was all over, she was everywhere, and so um, me me myself, of course, I was with the fighter, and I had Wasim fighting down there, so I was pretty much around him most of the time, as the fight
Okay.
got closer. And
Okay.
but right after that, we left and we went to Australia, and because Australia is really close, and we stayed another week in Australia, so it was fun.
Very nice. Very nice. Now we go to the questions, and to those guys, I'm gonna speak in Tagalog a little bit. You can ask, pwede po kayo mag-ask ng Tagalog. I will just convert it to English, so it's easier for you if you want to ask in Tagalog. I'm gonna start with the hard question, Jeff.
Mhm.
You can answer this, please. Badong Aratile says Mayweather effect in boxing, protecting zero and preventing us to see good fights. Your reaction, Jeff?
Now, I can understand that.
So he said that because of Mayweather's style of protecting his undefeated, he's preventing us to see good fights, and he wants to see a reaction.
Well, the reality is this. I mean, Floyd is Floyd, and Floyd he can't fucking change boxing. It ain't his fault. That's what he decided to do. It didn't work for him, and because it worked for him, he's one of the best fighters that ever put on a pair of gloves. So, so how can you say something negative about it?
Okay, I agree with you. Opinion about McGregor versus Manny Pacquiao.
I think Manny Pacquiao knocked him out in 1 or 2 rounds. I think Floyd carried him. Floyd wasn't. I mean, Floyd wasn't trying to knock him out. I think me. This is my own personal thinking, and it's funny because a reason why I think Floyd did what he did with Conor McGregor is because of what happened in the fight with Pacquiao. That fight didn't deliver, and Floyd wanted to give those people who spent their money on the Pacquiao Mayweather fight,
Hmm.
give them a show. And he gave them a show by allowing Conor McGregor to stay around as long as he did. But Manny
Okay,
Pacquiao knocked him out in 1 or 2 rounds. I know that.
so Floyd is making it easy for Connor for a while. That's why it happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So it looks like we have a lot of fans just talking about fantasy here. Floyd versus Khabib. That's also a rumor that has been whirling around or whirling around? What do you think?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Floyd actually said himself that he would fight Khabib and Conor McGregor in the same night or in the same day, in which he would be able to do, and he would be successful easy.
Okay. Okay. By the way, again, I appreciate so much you know uh spending some time with me here. Next
No
boxing
problem.
superstar.
I'm enjoying it.
Who do you think is the next boxing superstar?
Um, I think the kid, Shakur Stevenson, because he's saying the right things, he's doing the right things, and he actually has the right thing. He has the ability to fight. He's a good-looking kid, and he's fearless. He's willing to take on all the challenges out there, and and I just think that he's because I think that um you can't really say someone like Earl Spence or Terrence Crawford because these guys have already been in the sport long enough to have actually become stars, but they never became superstars. They stars, but they're not superstars. This kid has a chance to become a superstar. This kid, maybe a Teofimo Lopez, maybe even a Devin Haney. Those are the young guys who actually are, that's going to take up those positions.
Okay, I'll remember those names: Stevenson, Lopez, and Haney. Talking about young guys or young kids. This is a Tagalog question, Filipino question, but in English, Raji said that any of the kids of Floyd Mayweather Jr. may be looking to follow the footstep of the father of their father.
Um, I don't think so. I mean, I think that they may be a little curious just to go to the gym and maybe hit mitts or something like that. But I mean, the dad's wealthy. They don't have to. They don't have to go through the same channels that he did. So, I mean, they can do whatever they want to do. I mean, if because one of his sons is a really good rapper,
Mm,
and I'm sure that's what he's going to do. End up doing. He's probably going to end up, being a musician or a rapper, and his dad can provide that for him, as opposed to him having to, because that's what it is. I mean, when you fight, you're fighting for your family, you know,
that's true.
and for their lives to be a whole lot better, and they shouldn't have to do and go through the same things that their father went through. So, no, I don't
Perfect
think either
answer.
one of them. I don't think they'll never fight.
How many sons does Floyd have? Just curious if you can share.
Um, I think he has. I think he has three.
Okay. The reason I asked this, and curiously, and maybe it's coincident, we've seen Floyd in one of his son training boxing. Manny Pacquiao is also training one of his son who's doing an amateur, and there's also another son of Pacquiao who's also doing the rapping. So in the Philippines, what we do here, we're doing a matchup between the sons
Yeah,
of
maybe they can have a rap. Maybe we can have a rap contest.
that would be better. Yes. Anyway, I'm not sure if you have at least five Filipino fighters. Do you know at least five Filipino fighters? That's your favorite?
Um, Let me see. Um, of course, Manny. Um, Dang, what's the kid that came right after Manny? He became really big.
Is a champion now?
I don't think he's champion now, but he was champion. He was champion for a while.
Nonito Donaire?
Daenerys, Nito Daenerys. Yeah,
Daenerys,
I mean,
Daenerys.
I really like
Okay.
Daenerys. I mean, I really like him, as a person as well. Um, I think that's it though. I
Okay.
know.
That's a hard one, Naruto. But yeah, maybe we should change it here. Who's your favorite fighter of all time?
um, my favorite fighter of all time is is probably the favorite fighter of mostly everybody, and that's Muhammad Ali.
Okay. I'm not gonna follow up with the greatest question. Is gonna be a long conversation. Let's move on to Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia.
I lean slightly toward Javante Davis because he has the power, and I think that if he hurts Ryan Garcia and he hurt him bad, he's gonna knock him out.
Okay. Thank you for the quick question answer. How about this one? Lopez and Lomachenko. You like Lopez?
Yeah, I'm actually I know Tiafimo, so that's partly because I'm rooting for him because of that, because he's a great kid. And also um I do think that he has what it takes to beat Lomachenko. I mean, I think that Lomachenko, even though he hasn't had that many fights and he hasn't been around that long, but each fight he seems to be getting, the fighters are starting to get closer and closer to him. And I think that with older fighters getting closer to him, Tiafimo, at his age, and I mean, he's not even in his prime yet, and but this kid can flat out fight. I think that he has a great chance of beating Lomachenko.
Okay. Uh, Riley versus Briggs.
Oh, that's not gonna happen. I mean, first of all, it's two different weight classes.
Okay. Good. I'm skipping some of the questions, but this one, Ken De La Hoya, Tyson know if he can really make a comeback.
I think that they can make a comeback, but to the higher echelon, no. I think that they can come back and they can. I mean, I can come back at 60 and beat somebody. So yeah, I think that they can come back and pick some opponents and beat up some opponents. But I mean, like I said, if you're coming back just to get a win, what's the point? But if you're coming back to try to really prove that this is something that you still feel that you can do and that you can compete on the highest level,
Mhm.
now you're doing something. So if like I said, if De La Hoya is just coming back just to fight some dude that's, you know, 10 and 15, what's the point? You
Yeah.
know, because it doesn't mean anything. But if he
Okay.
comes back and he end up fighting maybe a Danny Garcia or maybe, a Terrence Crawford or somebody a little, a little below than them. Now he's taking a real risk. And
Okay.
and basically, and like I said, because if you're already wealthy, why are you coming back to fight?
Yeah, makes sense. My Manny Pacquiao, Mikey Garcia. This is the fight that we thought that would really be happening, but because of the pandemic, kind of put on hold. This is the closest fight that could happen as well. What do you think about this fight?
I pick Manny. I pick Manny.
Okay.
I really like Garcia too, but I don't know. I just when I seen his fight against, even though Earl Spence was a lot bigger than him, he just didn't even really try. It was almost like he was just in there to get the payday and not get knocked out. But with
Okay.
Manny, he's gonna actually have to fight.
Okay. I have two last question. I'm sorry for dragging you 1.5 hours almost. Uh,
No, that's okay. I'm
can
enjoying
Andy
it.
Ruiz thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Hopefully, I can repeat anytime soon. There's a lot of questions. Some of them I've skipped. And but do you think Andy Ruiz come back on top?
Um, I don't know. I think that I mean you never know because he got put in a position where he was able to capitalize off being put in that position. Because he did. It wasn't like he earned that. It was like, okay, well, this guy can't fight, so let's pick this guy. And just so happened that maybe Joshua just didn't even think that this guy had a chance. But don't get me wrong. Andy Ruiz is a fucking hell of a fighter. I was in training camp with him. Got to know him. He's a great guy, and I wish nothing but the best for him. But um, I don't know. He's working with I guess he's working with Canelo's people now. So maybe they will enhance him. I don't know. But I thought that the guy that he was with was also a great guy and a great trainer. But I don't know. I think he has a chance. He has a puncher's chance against anyone. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm learning a lot from this session. I'm having fun. Definitely. I know I said a couple of questions. These are good questions that I think I should not pass. And one guy said, "Don't end the live yet. Don't end the live." Question: Does Jeff know who the trainer was that taught Floyd Senior the Philly shell style and is now known as the Mayweather shoulder roll?
Um, the guy named his name was Mitch. I don't know his last name, but it's a trainer from Michigan that when Floyd was when he turned pro, Floyd Senior, he turned pro in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and he was being trained by a guy named Dale. And one guy name was Dale, the other guy name was Mitch, and Mitch was the one who taught him, um, that shoulder roll.
Okay.
But
Maybe I should
he
have
didn't
asked.
use
Go ahead.
no, but no, because don't get me wrong. Even though he was taught that, he didn't use it until he got shot. Because he got shot and he couldn't really move like he used to. Because he used to be
Ah.
dancing around the ring. And so once he got shot, he started to. That's when he started to actually adapt
Ah.
to
Adapt. Yeah.
the shoulder roll, and then and of course his son perfected it. But of course he perfected it from him, but still, that's why he ended up fighting in that style was because he had got shot.
Ah. Okay. Yeah, I want to go back a little bit here. Sorry. Uh, Raji asking, how did the Mayweather started in boxing? Maybe who is the first Mayweather that's involved in boxing?
Floyd Senior. His
Floyd Senior.
Yeah, he got started because It's funny because he actually got into a fight with a school teacher, which was stupid. You know,
Teacher.
now that I look back, I know. I mean, it's stupid for the teacher to be fighting a student. I mean, you're a grown man, you know, and I mean, so he got into a fight with his school teacher, and basically he was beating up the school teacher, and then my sister jumped in and started beating the teacher with her shoes. And so basically
What are
after
they
that,
fighting about? That's what I'm curious. Is it the
I
grades?
don't,
Is
I don't, I don't, I don't know. But basically, I think that after that, that's when Floyd started seeking a gym, and actually he fell in love with boxing.
okay. The shot as in gunshot for senior.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I guess we should give Jeff a rest. But here's my very last question. This is sent to me by the president of Philippines boxing official of Central
Hi,
Visaya.
President.
He's yeah. He said that Jeff,
Yeah.
what is Money Mayweather's legacy in boxing? How is he gonna be remembered in boxing? That's my last question.
Okay. Well, he will be remembered in boxing as one of the best to ever put on a pair of gloves. For one reason is because he's undefeated and he fought multiple champions. And those champions with that when he fought those champions, he made them champions look ordinary. Is one thing. And the other thing is this: he changed boxing in a sense where they started making money that they would have never ever seen in their life. You know, so there's a whole lot of people have Floyd to thank, that guy that's so boring that nobody wants to watch, but yet he made it where you got Conor McGregor, fucking fucking guy that fought one pro fight and made $100 million in one night. So thank Floyd for that. You know, I mean,
Okay.
because that all of those things are part of his legacy. He didn't just basically leave boxing undefeated. He didn't just beat multiple world champions. You know, he changed the game of boxing.
Okay. It's not just the undefeated record. It's not that it's not the multiple champions that he beat, but he changed it because of the money now
Yeah,
that other boxers are getting because of
exactly.
of him. Yeah.
And they're
Okay.
getting that solely because of him.
There you go. All right. Came from the Mayweather. I'm sure Pacquiao as well is great. They have two different legacy. We don't want to talk about that comparison. But I appreciate the time. Any last word? Anything that you wanted to promote? I know we've been promoting that you can hire Jeff Mayweather as as an instructor, boxing instructor online. You can also go to his the Mayweather channel, a great channel for
Yeah,
boxing.
subscribe
What
to
else
my
can
channel.
do you want to share?
Well, subscribe to my channel.
Okay, subscribe to your channel definitely.
Yes,
Here's the
and
channel. Okay.
yes. Well, that's one of them. I
Oh,
also got another channel, is the Jeff Mayweather channel.
the Jeff Mayweather channel. Exactly. One word. I haven't
Yeah,
got
Jeff
the photo
Mayweather
of that one.
channel, and then I also have the Jeff Mayweather show, is actually a podcast like you have.
There you go. Nice, nice. All right. Well, any last message, things, or message to the Filipino boxing community that have watched and enjoyed this show?
Well, I would like to thank each and every one who took the time to, to tune in, and hopefully, um, this is not going to be my last time, and eventually, um, I will see all you guys again. And who knows, one day I might be in the Philippines and we can hang out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Definitely looking forward to hosting you here in the Philippines. And when you come here, you send me a message. I'll see if I can show you around. Thank you,
Okay.
Jeff. And I think it's good night to you. It's good afternoon here. I appreciate
Okay.
again the opportunity.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right.
Talk to you
Bye,
soon again.
everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, again, I'm very honored to have Jeff Mayweather. Maybe soon we'll have the man himself, Floyd Mayweather. But well, we keep on dreaming. We keep on working. Tonight, I just wanted to share that I will be hosting another live session. But this time, tonight, it will be in Tagalog. So wag na kayong mag-alala, magtatagalog na ako mamayang gabi. Kakausapin natin isang much very respected judge at referee, international referee Dan Rex Tapdasan po. Mamayang gabi po yan ng 8:30 p.m. And sana po ay samahan nyo rin ako. I hope you enjoy. If you enjoyed, those people that are watching right now, the only thing that I'm gonna ask from you is share this YouTube or this Facebook live to your friends, to your family, and to anyone. Again, my name is Pao Salud, and I appreciate everyone. I'm gonna just show my outro, and goodbye, good afternoon. Kain na muna tayo ng lunch, okay?
Powcast Sports. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.